Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Citizen AW1711-52L Aviator watch. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Corjo 3002 homage to the Rolex Explorer 2. And Greg was wearing my LG XIGE LM021 President watch. Gargo said that when he was at summer camp, Ben Solo short-sheeted his bed. I asked him if he paid him back. He said no. Grogu was so short he didn't realize his bed was short-sheeted until the last day of camp. All right, let's get this watch open. Comes in this box. And it's a decent enough box. And here is the watch. Isn't that a nice looking watch? I really like the looks of this watch, which is why I ordered it. It's normally not something I review on this channel, but it looked pretty nice. I haven't had a ton of Citizens on my channel, despite their popularity and prominence and membership into the Japanese Big Four. Citizen also owns Miyota, which manufactures movements such as the AW215, and also owns Bulova, which makes a 262 kHz precisionist movement. So they have quite a wide spread. This watch has a Citizen J810 Eco Drive movement, where Eco Drive is just a fancy way of saying solar powered. One might be tempted to think that Eco stands for economical, as it saves money from not having to buy batteries. But Citizen marketing clearly implies ecological, as they tout all the batteries not having to be disposed of. Citizen calls this an Aviator style watch, and I don't really see that. It looks more dive style to me, but maybe Citizen didn't want anyone asking why their dive style watch's bezel didn't rotate. So they called it an Aviator just in case. I also see the suffix of the reference number listed as -87L also, and not just 52L. I can't seem to tell the difference between the two. This watch only comes in the blue colorway. This watch is 43.4 millimeters at the bezel. Add 1 more millimeter at the case. 51.2 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links. It's only 10.1 millimeters thick, so fairly thin for a big watch. Has a 22 millimeter lug width, which tapers down to 20 at the clasp. And weighs 142 grams on the supplied hollow bracelet with 2 links removed. So fairly heavy for a hollow link bracelet. Then we have the bezel. Once again, the bezel does look like a dive style bezel because it has the ascension phase right there. But the bezel does not rotate. So you can't actually use it as a timing bezel. So it's just more decorative. And it looks like we do have an aluminum insert. And this home triangle is not loomed. There's no loom on the bezel at all. Then we have the dial. The dial has a nice sunburst effect. And it has a really nice color of blue. I really like the color of blue. And then we have the minute markers. And we do have 24-hour indices right there at the majors, 15, 18, 21, and 24, but dots everywhere else. And then we have the main indices. We have 3, 6, and 9, but then we have 60 at the home position. I don't know why they just didn't put 12 there. I don't know. Maybe that's so they can tell you it's an Aviator watch. I'm not sure. And if you look at the indices, they look like they're embossed. I wouldn't call them applied, but it looks like they stick out from the dial. So I would say embossed, but I don't know if that's the official term or not. And then we have the hands. We have sword hands. And then we have the second hand. The second hand is white, which is great because that way you can see it on the blue background. But unfortunately, though, the second hand is not loomed, even though it looks like it should be. Then up top, we have Citizen written. And then underneath the 60, we have a little bar. And that bar is loomed. And then we have a little orange triangle. And that orange triangle is not loomed. Then on the bottom there, it says Eco Drive. And then we have a date at the 3. And look what they did. They snuck the date in between the 3 there. So that's kind of cool how they did that, because you can still see the 3, but you also have the date. And the date does have a black background, so it kind of hides I prefer having a date than no date, so I'm glad they did that. Then we have the crown. The crown's at the 130. I've never really seen a crown at the 130 before, so that's kind of odd. But they did a pretty good job with it because they snuck it into the case there, so it's kind of out of the way. It's almost like half a bullhead, but this isn't a pusher, it's the actual crown. So that's kind of different. It's kind of fun. I like it. And it's a push-pull and it's unsigned. And it's not difficult. The crown guards do kind of get in the way, but this is a quartz watch. You're not going to be using the crown a ton. Then we have the crystal. The crystal is just flat mineral glass. I don't know if Citizen has their own version of Hardlex that they use for marketing purposes, but it's glass. And then we have the case. The case is wonderful. It fits nice and flat on the wrist. It's a big watch, but the case is nice and thin, and it's got really good brushwork. Really like the case. They did a good job with it. And then we have the case back. The case back is a screw down. It says Citizen. Then it says water resistance 10 bars. So you get 100 meters here, which is plenty for this style of watch. Then it tells you the movement right there, the J810. And then it says stainless steel. Then Eco Drive. And they did a good job with the case back being nice and flat, which is why this watch isn't very thick. Underneath the case back is the J810 Eco Drive movement. This is a quartz movement and it's solar powered. And supposedly, if it's fully charged, the battery will last about 6 months before it needs to be charged again. And Citizens, their Eco Drives are pretty cool because you can't tell where the solar cells are. I mean, looking at this, you would never know it was solar if it didn't say Eco Drive on it. And then we have the bracelet. This is the Achilles heel of the watch is the bracelet. It's hollow. It's a 3-link, but it has hollow end links. The links are hollow. And the watch squeaks. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it squeaks. I've been calling this my squeaky watch. I haven't lubed it yet to get rid of the squeak because it kind of adds a little personality to it. But we do have half links there. There's one right there. And there's one right there. But I only removed 2 links and then pushed it in 1 micro adjust. So the bracelet's a little short for a 44mm watch. And then we have the clasp. The clasp is just pressed. The inner is actually polished though, but so what? And then the outer is just simple pressed. And we do have 3 holes of micro adjust. And it is signed, but it's not a very good clasp. It's not a very good bracelet. It's almost like they took an AliExpress watch, yanked the bracelet off it, and put it on this thing. The bracelet just doesn't seem to be in the same class as the rest of the watch. So the bracelet's very disappointing. It does have push pins, not screw pins. I'm fine with the push pins, but no, this bracelet's not good. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. This is a big watch, but look how flat it wears. They really did a good job with the case. How the lugs slope down, contours to the wrist. So I like that a lot. This 130 crown means it won't dig into your wrist. And yeah, most of them put it at 430, but 130, I mean, really, in all honesty, what's the difference between 130 and 430? They're both out of the way. It just, this one gives it a little bit of character. And even though it is a cheap, squeaky bracelet, it is comfortable. And here's the watch on a leather strap. I think that looks good. As you see too, there's not a huge gap between the strap and the watch case, so the lugs are short enough. Sometimes when you put a strap on a braceleted watch, the lug length is just too long and it looks odd, but no, this is perfect. So yeah, I really think this looks better on a strap. That bracelet is just not very good. And here's the watch on a silicone strap from Vario. I think that looks pretty good too. It's got the blue accents that goes with the watch. Here we are in the Lume room. Seiko is kind of famous for their Lumibrite, but I really don't know about Citizen. Just wearing the watch for review purposes, I had no indication that this watch was anything special. As we speed up the time, we see a pretty good glow and everything on the watch is Lume but the bezel and the second hand. As time goes by, the indices fade fairly fast, but at least the hands are much better. But even though the hands are better than the indices, there isn't much legs. The Lume is just okay and not actually good. What do I like about this watch? I like the looks and the wearability. I like the shape of the case. The watch wears smaller than its large size would imply. The 130 crown is tucked away nicely and doesn't get in the way. The second hand does hit the marks. And I like how they snuck the date between the three. What are my gripes and groans? The bezel is just decorative. The hollow link bracelet is too short and it squeaks. And the bracelet seems to be a different league from the watch head. Do I recommend this watch? If they would just have put a better bracelet on it, it would be an astounding yes. But the bracelet is a major letdown. If you intend on putting it on a strap, the watch head is wonderful. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Citizen AW1711-52L, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like this watch, I left a link to Joma Shop. I do not have an affiliate link with Joma Shop. So if you find it somewhere else cheaper or wherever you want to get it, go ahead. But it is a nice watch. I just, once again, the bracelet's disappointing. I don't know if I'd complain about the bracelet so much if the rest of the watch wasn't just so much nicer. Bye.